pleasure to be here. It's always fun for me to talk about health and nutrition because this is what I do. Just maybe what we can do is start at the beginning, each one introduce themselves so that we can know who's talking. So why don't we start, Melinda?
Thank you. Great to be here. So my name is Melinda Nicky. I'm CEO and founder of a company called Body Collective, and we are a women's health platform providing personalized wellness support and advice and guidance for women from first period to last. So we have two consumer-facing apps. One is called Baby to Body, which is for conception, pregnancy, and postpartum, and the second one is called Embody, which is for perimenopause and menopause. And we have 5 million women on our platform, so a lot of women.
Super. Sounds like it's growing fast.
Yeah.
It's an exciting thing to hear in these times. And
well, I'm Julio Sanchez. It's the second time I talk, but for those that were not in the previous chat, I represent Cinfa. Cinfa is a Spanish company that is the leader in the Spanish pharmacies. We do medicines, that is our core business, but since many years ago, we started to launch a nutritional business unit because the relation between what we eat and our health is super, it's completely 100% correlated. So with this, we have a presence in the Spanish pharmacies with more than 40 nutritionists that pay services to the customers of the pharmacists. We have been also implementing many innovation in that field, working with the Universidad de Navarra, that is a referent in the nutrition field, developing nutra-genetic tests, and also identifying what is the best diets and the best programs for each health condition. But I think we have many synergies to talk about today.
Yeah.
Great. So I'm Mariela Glant. I'm an endocrinologist. I've been treating diabetes and obesity for about 25 years. And what my main tool for doing this is nutrition. So I mainly use the ketogenic diet as a means of reversing metabolic disease, and it applies not just to diabetes and obesity, but it applies to just about any chronic disease that we see today. Yeah. So along those lines, first, let's start with lifestyle, right? Lifestyle and prevention. You're dealing mainly with women. Can you tell us a little bit about what's different between men and women, and what is your focus when you talk about lifestyle for women?
Well, I think the first thing you think about when you think about women is the unique stages we go through with our health. So that is sort of conception, pregnancy, postpartum, and that separates us from men who at the moment don't have babies. That might change. And then the perimenopause and the menopause. So this particular female hormone profile and the things that we go through at each one of those stages, but then also within 1 month, and sometimes even within a day, can switch. So women have, up until 1994, it was not law to include any woman in any drug trials. So most of the drugs that we have today on the market have been tested on men. And women's particular hormonal profile has not been taken into consideration previously. So I think that, moving and now the emergence of understanding the way that women work and our hormones and how that affects everything we do, from the way that we think to our cognitive ability to our emotional state, including our ability to function physically, has a huge amount to do with our hormones. So for us, it's really important that we understand women and we allow women to understand themselves, which is really the key to making any longer-term behavior change and make it last. So we basically help women to recognize their symptoms, understand their cycles, understand how their lifestyle can affect everything from cognitive ability to emotions, sleep, performance on all of those levels, relationships, everything, and then advise them based on their particular hormonal health profile and their lifestyle. So a ton of data goes into our algorithms, and then we provide them with that personalized insights.
So let's give us an example. Let's go more specific. What do you mean lifestyle? Because that's just a big word, right? So what do you mean by that?
Well, we focus on 3 key areas, which is movement, mental health, and nutrition, which are the things that we can actually change, right? So we can affect our mental health by taking steps to make sure that we're keeping mindful about things. The past people were talking about therapy, that's also a tool. And then movement obviously is within our ability to change, and then also nutrition. So we focus on those three areas, and we help women to understand how whatever they do in those three areas can affect their general lifestyle, and how happy they are, and how healthy they are, how long they live, how, you know, what their quality of life is. And it's interesting, even like for perimenopause and menopause. So 50% of women after their 5 years after menopause will get some kind of osteoporosis.
Yeah.
50%.
Estrogen goes down.
Yeah,
What happens?
estrogen goes down.
Estrogen
That's
is
what
important for
happens,
bone
exactly.
building.
Exactly.
So if their lifestyle is, and this is, you know, you both know this, right?
Yes.
So things that you can do to prevent that from happening is lifestyle related, and also HRT, obviously.
Vitamin
So
D
we can-
levels.
Yeah, we can go into the kind of the medication.
And vitamin D levels in that case as well. no?
Yeah, but protein intake, protein intake.
So it's all intertwined. So you can take medication, you can go into HRT,
Yeah.
you can supplement with estrogen, but then at the end of the day, you need strength training as well, right? And good nutrition and good hydration, and so it kind of works together. So
Yep. So when I'm speaking to you, you know, you work in a pharmaceutical company, correct?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're saying, how do we treat without pharmaceuticals? So
Yeah.
please explain.
I mean, it's normally in the industry we have seen things like there is someone that has a disease, let's gonna treat it. But since many years ago, many companies start relating in the concept of holistic health or total health. Is can I prevent? Can I put actions in order to prevent or to avoid this to happen earlier? Because there is one thing clear. All of us, we are going to be patients. At some point, we are going to have a disease. That's and probably, and if you look at now the life expectancy, we will have a chronic disease. The point is how we start preventing and treating in a different way. You have all the metabolic syndrome, chronic disease that nutrition plays. I mean, you mentioned diabetes, hypercholesterol. I mean, you have many that you can control or try to avoid and make the treatment more efficient. Because right now, imagine you go to the doctor, no, and you have 200 in your glucose level. First thing, diet and exercise. Yes, diet and exercise. How? I mean, we need to educate people to start doing this diet and exercise before we are in a pre-diabetes level. But from the industry, I see this as an opportunity because, for instance, in our case, we develop a service through the pharmacy to help people to manage correctly the nutrition, not from a, let's say, beauty point of view, from a health point of view. Because normally, at least here in Spain, during many years, the category is about, I mean, people talking about nutrition is summer is arriving and I want to be in shape. No. This has an impact in your full health, and you can put particular nutritional programs for a disease that you are starting to develop because you can adapt. So with that, we launched a collaboration, for instance, with the Navarra University, that we have more than 2,000 different diets that, depending on your profile and on your objective and on your biomarkers, you can adapt. No? So for us, it's important. It's a different business unit. Then there is the part, of course, of how can we supplement, that there is a lot of debate because some people say we are supplementing too much, others say we are not supplementing enough. But from our point of view, it's not an opposition. I think it's complementary. Mm-hmm. Because if you, for instance, are treated for one of those diseases and on the other hand, you are maintaining a correct nutrition, you are probably avoiding to go to higher doses, you are avoiding to have more complications. And diabetes is the perfect example. I mean, diabetes has many complications from I mean, even to the diabetes retinosis. You have many things that you can avoid through nutrition, not just through the treatment. Sorry that I extend a bit.
No, I completely agree. I would say, you know, the question, you're saying 2,000 diets, I would kind of argue a little bit there, okay?
Yeah.
Let's make it a little more interesting. I would say, you know, would you say that a dog has 2,000 different options of a diet?
No.
No, I'm saying I'm not you, I'm saying people, all right? In general, we tend to think that we need to personalize the diets, okay? And I just want to bring a little bit of a contrarian approach here and say that we're kind of missing the big picture. in my opinion, because mostly of what we need is protein and fat.
Yeah, well,
And once you get what the body needs, then what happens is that we stop searching for stuff, because since we're not meeting our requirements, we keep searching. So I think that part of this personalized medicine, or personalized, I definitely agree that
Yeah.
at the edges, we need to fine tune this, okay? So some people will need to supplement with different
I
things.
mean, folic acid intakes for women has not to be the same that for
Yeah.
men, probably, right?
I agree, but you know, had we been eating the right food, we wouldn't have a problem with folic acid, right?
Probably.
So the problem is that we're so far away from eating what from our evolutionary standpoint, supposed to be eating, that we've kind of medicalized everything. And I think that this is something that it would be really great to go back to. And I'm very curious about the
Yeah.
studies in Navarra, because I think that if we really fed people, this is what we're seeing in metabolic disease. When people get basically, very un-PC to say today, animal protein and animal fat, a little bit of vegetables, okay, and not much else that comes from a package.
There is a big debate here. Probably need to call my full team of scientific, etc., because I'm an economist, I'm not a
You're not-
nutritionist,
okay.
so I'm playing in a different level. But what I can say is
Yes.
that we don't tend to medicalize, but we have a lot of tools to track what is going on in our body. I mean, there are a lot of startups right now that are promoting the constant glucose monitoring. This is, for instance, for top sporters, is now a must, because they realize that they know that if they eat an avocado 2 hours before the match, they are producing a better peak of lactic acid that is giving them
Correct.
a 10% extra power. So what I say is that we need to use the science to apply into our nutrition in
So
order...
the monitoring is a helpful tool. Yes.
But also, I think, sorry, I'm going to be a
Yeah,
little
go
bit
ahead.
contrarian to what you said as well. People coming from different countries also have a different capacity to kind of metabolize things as well. And there's a lot in our DNA that suggests that, you know, the way that our genes express themselves are different, and the way that we metabolize certain supplements or vitamins and minerals is very
I
different.
agree.
So I think for the personalization aspect, and I think you're right, like it's the other question, and I have the comment more, is, if we ate that diet, we'd all be much healthier. But then we wouldn't be having any alcohol, we probably wouldn't be having any sugar, and like that's what is in the modern diet, and that's where we are right now. So I think it's hard. But then also, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and you get food that has been transported across the world and frozen or, you know, in cold storage and is like a week old, it's very different in terms of the, you know, the nutrients that you're going to get compared to like picking something off the ground and eating it. So
Yes.
it's not all equal.
No, it's true. No, I agree. When we think about the controversies that we have here, it's kind of, I feel like we've gotten lost in the weeds, you know?
Yeah.
Bottom line, what we see is that people's disease reverts in every single randomized control trial, actually, when they're fed a protein and fat, basically, in different ratios. I mean, it's kind of irrelevant, the ratios. So my question is, you know, to what degree do we need to supplement? You know, what is the elephant in the room here? The elephant in the room is that we are eating mostly things that are very, very far from what we ate for 2 million years.
Yeah, but also 2 million years we were not having heat at home. And life expectancy 2,000 years ago, I mean, was not as is today. We are
40
living
years old,
today.
yeah.
We are living today 85 years old. So I'm sorry for being controversial with
No,
this.
no, I'm
but
bringing it on
I believe
purpose.
that we are healthier. We are healthier now than 2,000 years ago. And these are the numbers.
We are
I mean,
healthier.
I
Yeah.
think we are much healthier because
live
we have
longer, yeah.
a different approach. What I said, and independently of each diet, for instance, for some people can work. I think there is also something that is, I will say, social or atmosphere, because this is also related with the strong beliefs of people. I have a friend that now is eating everything raw. And he said, I'm raw. I don't want to cook because this is how we ate many years ago. And the guy is perfectly safe, but I have another friend that is eating McDonald's every day, and he's good. So it depends of many, 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 many things.
Yeah, I agree.
What we try to do is to personalize for people that have things that can be corrected. For instance, glucose level can be corrected, cholesterol can be corrected. We have a deficit in most of our societies of omega-3s, omega-6, omega-9 that can be corrected with improving the nutrition, and for those moments that you cannot reach just with the nutrition these levels of basic nutrients, we can apport BMS or any formula. But
So tell us more about what's about the nutrition.
no, I mean, I can tell you my case, because we were working in a vitamin D test that we are about to launch. And I was thinking, I mean, I'm outside a lot of time doing things outside. I ate, I mean, quite healthy. And I was thinking, I mean, my vitamin D level is going to be perfect. And I was in a severe deficit.
Severe deficit.
So it was like 4, and the normal level is 25. So, I mean, supplementation for my case was a must. And the problem with this thing of nutrition is that we don't see the impact in the short term. We see it in the medium and long term. So some people say, no, this is not working, or this is not important. But when you see these studies, you need time. Because, I mean, probably we are suffering now things that started in our body many, many, many months or years ago.
Yes.
So it's not the same that with a treatment. If you have cholesterol and you take an statin, your cholesterol, from, 15 minutes. But treating things with nutrition take this patient and this constant action from your side.
Right.
So a similar thing happened to me. I thought vitamin D, I'll be fine. I'm out every single day walking my dog. I'm super healthy. Did a health profile recently because I'm on HRT for perimenopause. Low in iron, and my vitamin D was somewhere around like 6 or 7 as well. I know I live in the UK, but
That's really
Yeah.
shocking for both of you. Honestly,
yeah,
that's really
no, I
low.
know,
Yeah,
exactly. So,
Yeah.
and I was advised to go on iron supplements, and I'm a red meat eater. I'm South African, like, you know. So, yeah, very surprising, but
Right. So that goes back to what you're saying, that our lifestyle is so different.
Exactly. Yes,
yeah, and where we live as well. Sorry, like, so, you know, maybe I'm out for half an hour a day. I should be out for an hour a day. Maybe I shouldn't be wearing sunscreen. Very controversial, I know, but
No,
But
I'm with
for-
you.
you know, sometimes you don't need sunscreen because you need to get
but it's
the rays.
yeah, I think it's all about also to avoid going with the trends and the fashions. If you think during COVID, everybody was taking like a huge amount of vitamin D that was not even, their bodies were not even able to absorb, because when you reach a level, you cannot absorb more. And people was like, no, this is for my immunity system. Then you have the, PEA now, the this supplement. Now, what you need to do is things with logical and, from my point of view, with a professional support. If you have a professional nutrition that knows about this, and you can also check with your health records, is where you can start, taking the most of this, and taking also the psychosocial thing that you were saying, because how we rest is super important.
Yeah.
I
I would say it's as important as how we eat, probably not as important.
I think almost as important. When you,
Yeah.
it looks like food is actually 80%. That's how important food is. And from various studies, and then you see that sleep, of course, is important, stress, of course, is important, and everything.
But
Exercise.
the other one is hydration.
Yes.
Huge, huge issue. I mean, how many people here know how many glasses of water you drink every day? Who tracks it? Not many hands going up. I bet you that 90% of you are not drinking enough water.
Yeah.
And if you do drink water properly and sip throughout the day, you'll notice a huge difference in your cognitive ability. You'll notice a huge difference in your mood. You'll notice a huge difference in your energy levels, and you'll sleep better.
Of course.
So,
Never-
and that's something that like no one talks about, right? Like, so that's we try and do that in our apps, is to help people to look at all of these different areas and build in those healthy habits that will help them actually be aware of how they're feeling and how things affect them.
It's interesting. There's a new research that came out this year by Richard Johnson that looks at water's effect on weight loss. Okay, and actually there is, the myth that drinking water causes weight loss was never really proven or the mechanism behind it until this year. So I think that's pretty cool.
What was the mechanism behind it? Did you eat less?
It's through a hormone called DDAVP. But anyway, I don't know if it's interesting. I mean, it's fascinating, but nobody ever thought that this hormone had that effect, and apparently it does. But anyway, the point is that drinking water is also, and I agree with you, there are so many different aspects to health. Like you said, sleeping is critical and et cetera. But I still want to drill down into what exactly you guys are doing, because I'm interested to hear this.
So imagine that, something that for us is important is that we are leaders in the Spanish pharmacies. We have a relationship with the pharmacists that is super close. And the pharmacist in Spain at least, probably the UK model is a bit different, but in the Mediterranean countries, is one of the first point of health that people goes. I mean, a lot of people here in Spain, when feeling something, they don't go to the doctor, they go to the pharmacist.
Pharmacist, yes.
And they have this relationship over time, because normally, on average, one Spanish citizen goes to 2-3 pharmacies in their neighborhood. And they know them, especially when you have small kids, you are always in the pharmacy. I don't know if you realize, at least it's my case now. So what we saw there is a big link to be able to promote these health actions through the pharmacist council. So at the beginning, we started working directly with the pharmacists, training them in nutrition, but we realized that there were a market space for having our own nutritionists, that they attend people on the pharmacist. So it's good for the pharmacist, because for the pharmacist it's an extra service they can offer to their customers. It's good for the patient, because this is cost-free for them. So at the end, we are assuming this cost in order to create this leverage with the pharmacist. And also, for us, is first of all, is something that is promoting as well our rest of sales, of course, but is promoting good habits for the situation. So this patient, when they enter there, they get a study, first a biomarkers study, so they get an extraction, we analyze it in a lab. You are starting to work with data and with science and with physical levels. And based on this, we can take one of those and personalize 2,000 diets and to personalize. Other aspect that we are developing that is super important in nutrition is how absorb things. Microbiota is super important in all the things that we are speaking, because our daily life normally makes that our biota, all the bugs that are inside of us, if they are not working well, you can have a lot of problems that are strictly related with nutrition, because they have a big impact in how we metabolize and how we treat the nutrients. So we have also a program in order to test this microbiota of the people through the pharmacist. So in combination with this, we can offer, like, let's say, even though you don't like the word, this personalized nutrition.
No, it's not that I don't like the word. It's just that it's just that, you know how the fastest way to treat the microbiota is? I go back to the same thing. Give the intestine real food, and the bugs start to sort themselves out. So
and we go back to the life expectancy of 40 years old.
No, I'm saying when we do it now, okay? When we do it now, people have a lot of GI complaints, right? And when we change the diet to real food, in 99% of the time, it actually sorts itself out. Yeah. It's just that we're kind of treating things. We're patching things up more and more. You know what I mean? So anyway,
but there is a big relationship with microbiota and other parts. There is now a researcher in the CSIC in Spain, that is the big center, that is Yolanda Sanz, that is investigating about the relationship between the microbiota and the brain and the mood. And this is fascinating, how this can impact how you are feeling, what's your mood.
Amazing.
It's crazy, because it's all science. At the end, our head is not, mental health is science and can be related with biological markers and therefore with nutrition.
I'm a psychologist, and a sports psychologist actually, and there's so much of what I studied and that sports psychologists do to do with the gut-brain connection, right? And understanding how athletes and sports people at the top of their game actually kind of listen to their gut, and how that connection is actually kind of optimized for like peak performance.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
Yeah,
like, who would have thought that? Yeah. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And there's so much interesting research coming out of that. Yeah.
For depression as well and anxiety, it's huge. Yeah.
Yes, so we have to change the microbiome in order to be relaxed, you're saying?
Well, it's also, I mean, it's a mixture of everything. It's not just one thing, right? This is what we're all saying. So, and we haven't really spoken about movement and physical activity much, but that's just as important
I mean, and
for all of that. Yeah.
I will say that in any things that we do, miracles normally doesn't happen. So if you want to be healthy, you need to eat well, you need to rest, you need to take controls. It's something holistic, because it's not just because I'm gonna, have an intake of 80 pills a day of extra nutrients, or just if I eat this every day. No, I think balance is something really important in all these aspects.
Yeah. So, what about men and women in sports? Do you have any thoughts on that? The difference between the sexes?
The ability and the...
No, I'm saying as far as the recommendations for well-being, is there a difference in recommendations between the sexes?
Yeah, absolutely, because our hormones are different, right? And that's what separates us. So the hormone profile is different, but it's different in every person anyway. So I think understanding your hormonal profile and the way that your lifestyle affects your body, I think those are the keys. So I'm with the whole personalization aspect.
Yeah.
I am too, but I am too. I like the personalization. We have no ways about it but to personalize, because I totally agree. I'm just giving the overall picture that in the end, we can be talking about we can be missing the big picture here, okay? In nutrition, I think we do. I think we miss the big picture of nutrition, with the personalization. So I believe that there are definitely different ways of absorption and many, but here's the deal: there is no person in the world allergic to meat, okay? And when you come down to it, okay, so when you pare it down, and most of the world is going against this. So I'm like trying to bring out this message that, wait a second, guys, we don't have to personalize so much. I mean, we don't have enough data yet to personalize, even though we do have a lot of genomic studies, et cetera. I don't think do you think we are?
I think we have. I mean, I think that the industry is having a problem of how to manage the amount of data that we have. Right now, in many aspects, we have, if you look at the amount of snippets that we have when we do a DNA profile, the amount of data that we have of our health records, the problem is the interconnection, that sometimes we are not able. But how many data of our health is around there and we don't know? How much is in our smartwatch? How much is in our Fitbit? There are tons of data. The problem is that probably we are not using it in the correct way.
Right. We've got hundreds of millions of data points about women's health through the conception, pregnancy, postpartum period, hundreds of millions. And you can see quite clearly when people are exercising and when they're sleeping correctly and what their diets are and how much water they're drinking, and it all correlates.
No, this, of course, I totally agree with this, okay? I know that we can monitor and track and see. I completely agree with this. I'm just saying that when we look at the degree of arguments that we have in the personalization of food, look, 90% of people are eating mostly processed food. Okay, let's agree that if we take out processed food from the equation, for example.
Yeah.
No, that's what I was saying in the beginning.
That's for another conversation with Carlos Rios.
We're going to have to close the conversation for our next panel. But a very interesting discussion going on.
It was a discussion, eh?
It was.
No, but I wanted to make it interesting.
So with lots of difference of opinions, which is what we want. So thank you, guys. And thank you, Mariela, for moderating, and Julio Sanchez and Melinda Niki for being part of it. So thank you.